Welcome to the Brag Effect, where we share easy to understand customer service tips from business owners and leaders that will help you get your customers bragging about you in all the right ways. Hi, I'm Mike Wells, and together with my co-host Michelle Adams. Hey Michelle.
Hi Mike.
A big thanks for joining us.
Hi, welcome. I'm Mike from Brag Reviews. We're at the Brag Effect. Right now we're talking to Brett and Kylie from Riba Kai in Maroochydore on the lovely Sunshine Coast. Hey Brett, hey Kylie, how you doing?
Good, Mike.
So Riba Kai is one of my favourite places. With my partner Michelle, we often come here and we get great service. We love it. It's consistent. It's you guys always have a little bit of a wow effect in the menu, which is actually pretty rare up here. So congratulations on all your success. We're here really to find out about how you want to share, or what you want to share about what your journey's been like, and maybe we'll start there. Is how you got involved in Riba Kai, how that came about. So was it a vision from the start? Was it something that you had your intention on from the get-go to have this business?
Well, I guess it originally started with my parents. They started the business in Sunshine Plaza Shopping Centre, and I was working with them.
Yeah.
And it was just an ongoing business that we'd taken over, and we turned it into our own. They retired in 2012, and I purchased the business off them.
Yeah.
And at the same time, Kylie had only just started working for my parents, and due to the fact that I had another business in the plaza at the same time, I needed a manager, and Kylie seemed the right fit for that person. And
Has that paid off for you?
It's paid off dividends. So she managed the business in the plaza for me for the 6 years that we had it. And then since then, we came to the end of the lease, and we needed a new venture, and this is it. And couldn't do it without her, so offered her an opportunity to be a business partner in the business. And it's been the best decision ever. So it gives us the work-life balance that we want, and I know when I'm off that I've got someone that's financially invested in the business that has got my back. And
need that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So no small undertaking. A hospitality business has got inherent risk. It's got long hours, a lot of effort. It's hard to be consistent, I would thought. Do you have any regrets about that, or is it just something that was in your blood? This hospitality thing is obviously you've been around it as a younger fella.
Yeah, I mean, my parents always ran restaurants, so my whole life hospitality's been in the family. So it came natural. I know that as a young kid, I watched the Michael J. Fox movie, The Concierge, and loved the thought of owning my own hotel one day, and that sort of got me right involved in hospitality. I started my career in hotels, and every hotel's got its own restaurant, so did a lot of the working through the restaurants there, and travelling, and grew my passion through Europe and the UK, living and working over that way. And it's just been a natural progression, I suppose, for me and for Kylie.
Yeah, again, similar story. Started as a kid, wanted to travel, got every possible opportunity under my belt, restaurants, bars, pubs, so I could go overseas. And it's just a field that gives you so much freedom. You can find work anywhere doing it, you can travel anywhere. And I guess, we've been both fortunate in that we had that European experience, and diversity here in Europe, it's a
profession.
Yeah, it's a profession, and it's
take pride in it. It's revered.
So to have that experience and to be in environments where it's actually considered something, not just a stopgap, not something to do whilst you're at university, not something to fill the time, and that sort of innuendo that you're somehow dumb or stupid because you do it and you can't do anything else. Like over there, it's something you do. It's something you're taught. You go to school, you learn, you study, and we've been able to bring that back, and that whole sense of, the customer service, the experience, like that's, I guess, been a key to what's made us be able to be really successful in what we do. We've been able to bring that
and
professionalism.
Building the staff up to make them feel like they have a purpose.
Yeah, I want to get onto that.
The most integral part of the whole business.
I want to get onto that because it's so key to have a customer-centric culture within your organisation. How have you fostered that? Like, how are some of the strategies that you've employed to keep good staff? Because I see a lot of the same sort of faces around. They're obviously consistent, which is in itself not easy in casual work through a pandemic.
Yeah.
What are some of the ways that you've kept people and kept them part of your vision?
Treating them like family, treating them with respect, paying them on time, and you know, there's nothing hidden. Everything we do is by the book.
Yeah.
You know, we just keep it honest, keep it real. We try and give them the work-life balance that we want in our lives.
Yeah, that's definitely the biggest thing is bringing to the party. You know, without divulging my actual age and how long I've been with, but I've brought to the table a lot of years of experience. And you know, it is a hard industry. You walk to the beat of a different drum. You are off when people are.
You're on when they're off.
Yeah, exactly. And opposites. You know, what's a weekend? We always joke.
Yeah.
You know, there's a knockoff beverage. It's always someone's Friday in hospitality.
It's
there's
5
no
o'clock
real
somewhere,
Friday. Yeah, you know, it's and so. In order to do that, I brought to the table like trying to give them set rosters, set days off, set hours, working in a casual environment, and making them feel that they have a work-life balance in order for them to perform for us, I guess, as well.
Yeah.
You know, if we can give them the best work-life balance they can possibly have when they come, it's not work, it's just a part of, and being part of something bigger, like the family, like we call us, it's the RK fam, like we, you know, the friends, the birthdays,
RK meaning Riba Kai.
Yeah, so that was kind of a rebranding we did when we took it over from Brett's parents. We needed to bring it up a little bit, you know, evolve. Everything was getting a little bit funkier on the coast. We couldn't just sit there in a shopping centre and be. So we were like, well, what can we make it a little bit more edgy? We'll be RK. So we're the RK family.
Yeah. And look at what you've created. You're in a little hub here, which is its own little enclave. You got your beautiful cactuses. We'll pan around later on to show our viewers that. But yeah, really cool little place. With lots of little quirky and uplifting little delightful angles to it. So you've done really well. So that leads me into the other topic of where you're actually located. Your previous endeavour was in Sunshine Plaza in the main shopping precinct, and you're not in there at all now. You're in basically an industrial zone, still in the heart of Maroochydore, but it's in its own little enclave. So you don't have walk past, you don't have street traffic so much. So people have found you either by word of mouth or just because you were... they were loyal to you before. So, you know, how have you actually fostered that along the way to be able to just create your own little oasis here and have people come in and get to know where you are?
I mean, to start with, we were lucky enough to have the 16 years in Sunshine Plaza Shopping Centre where there was the thoroughfare of people coming through. You know, we built a customer base and a customer following, and it started with my parents, and then we modernised it and brought it into the future when Kylie and I, you know, were running it together. You know,
I guess it was our biggest self-doubt though, when we were offered this space, because it was so left of centre and we weren't in that. We, in our own minds, thought, well, we were just a convenience. And we were like, can we actually do this? We came down here and we looked at it.
Can
it was
we
a
become
dug-up,
the destination?
Dug-up car park. It was a shell of a structure. We had a walk-through visual, and you know, I was like, can I see the renders? And this was all done like old school local tradies. It was just really organic how it grew and how they used it. And they were like, oh no, we're going to do this and we're going to do that, we're going to do that. And in our minds, we were like, all right, we have to visualise this from literally a verbal walkthrough. And we were like, well, will they come? Because we just thought, to a certain extent, they came because it was convenience. They had to be there. They would come to get their food shop, their clothes, their whatever, their coffee. They go to Kmart. So we were just there, and we were the best choice in what they had in the offering. But unbeknownst to us, that actually wasn't what it was.
So what were they really coming for, as it turns out? Because I know the answer to that, but how would you say it? And you can big note yourself because it is you guys. It is what you do differently. But how would you describe what it is that you do that
was like
gets
their
people coming?
second home.
Right.
It was like they were eating in their own lounge room.
Yeah,
they were being treated like family.
Yeah.
They were being remembered like a family member. You know, we don't not care about the customer. You know, we don't just think they're a tourist. They're not coming back again, so we're just going to have the next thorough
churn and burn.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is knowing them by name. We knew their order, but beyond that, like old Martha's dad was up in this shop. You just knew, and that was what we fostered through our staff as well. It's not just about this is old Pat. Old Pat comes down and she brings lollies, and that's old mate, and they come across and they always get together, and Lenny is, and we knew the people, and they knew that we knew them, and they knew that we cared. So we created this experience, and it wasn't just with the oldies; it was generational. Like we saw kids come through that I have now sitting out here with adults and children that I go, oh man, I'm getting way too old for this. And they have stayed.
When you start seeing younger people have kids.
Like, you hang on, I'm giving you iced chocolates and chocolate brownies. Even one of our staff now, I used to feed her after school chocolate brownies and chocolate thick cakes for years, and now she's running the floor with me, and she turned 23 the other day and we're having drinks. I'm like, hang on, no. And that's what we do through the staff and the customers, and I think that's what we create.
Yeah.
And even now, like, people don't know maybe that we've gone into partnership, and still people 3 years after walking the door, oh my God, you're Riba Kai, because the concept Riba Kai that gets a little bit skewed, and it's like, separate entities. We're at the concept.
The concept is the
establishment
residence.
with all the businesses operating to sort of showcase each other.
So when people see Riba Kai, the concept, they think
go,
it's something else.
I know that hair.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys, man. Like, and that the other man, the one with the beautiful smile. I'm like, yeah, that's us. And like, that was what we had become. It was us.
Yeah.
Like, they either wanted Brett or they either wanted Kylie, and our staff were the same.
But that has flowed on through your staff, obviously, and to the experience.
How many? At least 3 or 4 staff that came from with us, and so have been here since. So, yeah, I guess it was the experience we created where we, in our minds, it was just the convenience, but we kind of learnt really quickly that it wasn't, and it's been, a lot more than that, and they still look for us. And even with new stuff, we had a young girl from Melbourne, thought she knew it all, and came in, and after her first couple, she'd be like, oh, Kylie, did you want to go and see your friends? And I'm like, what? She goes, your friends, like the friends that we're, I'm like, they're my friends, they're my customers. She goes, oh, I can't tell the difference. Like, I thought it was your family. I'm like, no, that's how we say hello to everyone. Hey, like.
So that says a lot there.
Yeah.
You mentioned before about you'd had hospitality experience specifically in hotels, and I was reading a book about excellence wins by Horst Schultz, who was the co-founder of the Ritz-Carlton, top level hotel experience across the world. And he was saying everything what you're saying basically, and it's just really great to hear it from a different perspective. So making your customer feel valued, empowering your staff, and when you really break that down, it's being present, it's smiling, it's taking interest, it's getting to know their names.
It's working beside them as well.
Right.
Like,
with
we
your
don't
staff?
shy away from the dishes. If we need to get out to the kitchen and wash some dishes, we'll do it.
Yeah.
Like, they're not different to us. We work beside them, and they work beside us.
Yep.
We're not above them in any form.
Yeah, there's
So
nothing
we just get the gift of paying their wages. That's all.
Yeah, so that speaks to leadership specifically, and it's actually pretty rare. So that, if anyone's listening about that, wanting to know how to recreate the success that you have, I think that's one of the most important underpinnings in everything. Is you could say it's set lead by example. Something along those lines. But,
one of my first, experiences, and why I think I've been successful in everything I do, is my very first real job. And my boss said, he was Italian Sicilian, when in Rome, do as the Romans. So if you do as I do, you can't fail. And then if you do a little bit more, then that's going to be even better. And so, I guess that's how I proved myself. And, it is a Cinderella story for me. Loyalty and hard work does pay off. I busted my gut. I put in 300%, and I was offered an opportunity to have this. For me, that's something and above and beyond what anyone could imagine, that you just, manage a venue. But that was the general ethos. And I say that to any young people. If you do what I do, and I don't necessarily mean I always do it right, I'm open for changes. My 13-year-old son said, how come we do it like this? Why don't we do it like this? Does it make more sense? And everyone just looked at him and went, actually, I think you're onto something. So we take on board, obviously, what everyone brings to the table, because everyone has greater experiences, and that's the thing. We're all in this to build it and to grow it and to evolve it together. So that's the beauty of what we have. And, our team are our family. They're the family I choose, essentially, and that's been a big part of our success.
So when you're working your butt off and you're digging deep, how do you get? This is more of a mindset question on a how do you manage your state effectively when you're low and everything seems to be working against you? COVID, for example. In terms of COVID, how have you had to adapt specifically? We know all about the majority of change, but specifically, how have you had to adapt and manage that specific issue?
I guess we just broke everything down and streamlined it all.
Right.
We looked at every element of the business, whether the menu, the staffing, the operating hours that we have, and we just made sure that every cost to the business was monitored, and that we were running it the smartest and the best we could. We looked at what people were buying majority of. We created a takeaway menu during the COVID period that was based on what most people ordered off the menu. You
Right.
know, we scrapped the big menu that we have. You know, we scrapped some of the items that didn't sell as well, and made sure that, you know, the bulk of the items were there for people to buy, and they came in. You know, they came in their droves during that period, and they supported us through the takeaway
We
period.
learned so much, and I guess we humanised ourselves a little bit more than we ever expected to do. You know, we sat,
How specifically?
you know, taking social media and just putting ourselves,
Right.
myself specifically, in front of a camera and saying, well, this is the deal, guys. This is where we're at.
Mhm.
This is what we're going to do. And we gave them a human face to that. We were just going to do the best we could to get through in the best way we could. Like, for us, it was devastating. I don't think I cried so much in a week when I stood down 14 of my staff and I could not tell them when I could bring them back up. I still get emotional thinking about it. And even to this day, you know, we're wearing masks and every week and there's 200 count. And I don't do social media other than for my business. I have no mainstream television that filters to my home. So my only font of information is what I get either from Brett or customers or whatever, because it's tough. Like, I feel like we've been walking on this precipice now for 16 months. It's not like we're out. It's not like it's over. Every day is a blessing, and you just have to live that day as a blessing. Come in, leave your baggage at the door, whatever's going on personally, you leave it there and you smile and go, but I have this.
So that's part of your
Being
strategy
grateful
is
that the customers coming.
Yeah.
is be here, present, one day at a time, break it down, simplify, be
Yeah.
grateful.
Every day
These are really
is-
basic steps. You're not getting ahead of yourself and
No.
obviously not complaining about the macro situation, but you're looking to control what you can.
All of that is
every
there and
single
it's
day.
hovering over the top, but that just would create sleepless nights. You know, are we essentially living in this bubble of security? We've been in this state we've been so blessed and so looked after, and we've managed to operate every day. We didn't close a single day, and you know, you need to have humility. You need to say, well, but there is also that, well, I'm so humble and so grateful, but we created something great that made people come back to support us. You know, people
Absolutely.
just deliberately coming in and saying, I'm going to get my coffee from you today. I'm going to grab my burger. I bought my lunch, but I don't care. Here's, you know, $12 for my burger. Let's keep moving. So, yeah, it's been a lot, and it still is a lot. You know, we're not out of it, and you know, and for us personally, I always think to myself, it's not about us. We'll be okay. We've set ourselves up in a way for a certain period of time. We will be okay. But it's the thought of having to set down the casuals, like the casual workers. But we can't. The business wouldn't survive if we just said, well, we'll pay you until it. Like, you can't do that. That's not.
Yeah.
That's been one of the afterthoughts in the policy response from a lot of the state governments here, is casual workers just get left behind as one element, and industry can't bounce back very quickly without that element in it. So
And they kick on as well, and this is just our thought processes, and us, we're, you know, educated to what we are. But even just now, with the impact of what has happened, the rental crisis, you know, the housing marketplace, they're pushing everything up, and it's going. We can't find staff. They're pushing casual workers out of the market. They can't afford to live on the Sunshine Coast. We try and find a chef, and you get, once upon a time, you get 30 applicants, and now you're lucky to get one a week, or you need baristas. Then maybe that isn't the case, but there's some.
We're just lucky we retain our staff, so we don't need to.
But you know, sometimes you need. There's no staff out there anymore. Like, there is these effects that we are dealing with.
yeah,
you know,
I've heard that through many different industries where there's a shortage in all kinds of stuff, particularly casual. Yeah. On a personal level, how do you get up in the? You said you've cried a lot during this. I know people that they've very hard time in Victoria, particularly as they've been hit harder.
Absolutely.
New South Wales at the moment, because we're in July 2021 at the moment. But personally, how do you guys get up when you're really challenged? When you're back, what is one of the core beliefs that you go? It's going to be okay. I'm going to focus one thing at a time. What is something that pops in your head that gets you back up off the canvas?
It's a good question. I have no answer for that.
You're doing it unconsciously,
you
confidently.
do it unconsciously. It's what we've done for so long. It's what's got us through. You know,
it's our safe place, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what
So
it
the
comes
business
down to.
itself is
It's-
what's protecting the business, because you've invested in it.
When I walk in the door, whatever I have, you know, I have 4 children, lots of stuff that's not even really important, but we all have our stories and we all have our burdens. But when I walk in here, this is my safe place.
And you turn
I
on
shed
and you
it.
focus.
Yeah.
And I have my customer base, and I have my beautiful clients that come through, and you know, you have these amazing stories that are insane. You know, my crowning achievement was a family that came in. They've been coming from here, from the inception, a toddler, not even little more than a newborn, sleeping in a pram, to a 3-year-old little boy who said to his nanny, "Nanny, can we play restaurants?" And she was like, "Yeah, sure." And he goes, "Okay, so can you be Kylie She went, what? He goes, you can be Kylie. And she looked at him and she went, Kylie? And she goes, yeah, you know Kylie, we're going to play restaurants. She went, the penny dropped for her and she went, oh, Kylie from Riba Kai. And I was like, she was like, okay, yeah, I can do that. And he goes, okay, so you're going to make me a cheese toastie with chips like Kylie can. Can you do that for me, Nanny? That for me was the most crowning achievement of my forever years of hospitality, that we had impacted a 3-year-old so much.
You win a 3-year-old
that a restaurant was, when he wanted to play restaurant, it meant that Kylie had to be in that restaurant. You know, you've done something right when that happens, you know, and that's kind of, you know, that sums up what we try and do. Impact people and become a part of their worlds.
You're doing a lot of things right. That's reflected in your reviews. Your reviews across Facebook, TripAdvisor, and Google, you're averaging about nearly 4.7 over hundreds of reviews, which is not easy to do. Is that a part of your business that you guys focus on at all, or is it just playing?
Organic.
Is just doing its own thing?
It's just doing its own thing.
We don't put a lot of thought into the review process.
Yeah.
We know it affects a lot of people's decisions on where they go. We're grateful that we have that percentage of reviews, but it's not something that we put our mind onto.
You know, we're not perfect either, and I guess that our biggest focus is resolution within the venue before you get to review stage, where the review can turn pear-shaped. And we know a really bad review can be detrimental, as can a bad experience through word of mouth can cost so much money. So, you know, it's
if a bad review comes in, you tend to focus that you tend to know that it's there and then focus on it if it comes in.
Yeah.
Well, we try.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I'll focus on
the review management.
So if the review ever gets to the point where we get a negative review through social media feeds, then I'll deal with that in a certain way, personal level. But we always try and resolve that in the store. You know, when there's an issue, either Kylie or myself are here generally the whole time that the business is open. So, you know, we'll generally go over to a table and try and resolve the issue then and there, so it doesn't get to
the fact that you're even noticing that there's an issue is one of the most critical elements. Before it's got out.
It's acknowledging that someone has an issue, regardless of whether you think there's an issue or your staff think that's an issue. There's a fly in the wine that wasn't there when we took it to the table. Just get them another glass of wine.
Yeah.
You know, acknowledge that they're having it, that something's upset them. Rectify it in any way that you can, because at the end of the day, and what I always say to staff, you know, whether it's the same amount of chicken that goes on the plate, but they don't feel like they've got enough chicken, just give them some more chicken. You know, that $5 of chicken is not going to cost me anything, but them walking out of this door and going, well, that was shit. They didn't resolve it. They didn't acknowledge that I was unhappy. It's going to cost you way more in the long run. Like, just
amazing how much $5 worth of chicken. Some people quibble over that, then spend $5,000 to try to get 50 more customers.
The other thing too, that with one customer, crazy things. I have people, and you know, I was off the floor for reasons that I couldn't be here, but I had customers ringing up to find out that I was okay because I'd offered them a side of chips 5 years ago at Sunshine Plaza when the wife forgot to get him for it. I'm like, here, mate, here's the side of chips. Don't worry about it. I got your back. And to this day, they are now the great mates. It's it's your birthday. It's the little brownie with the candle that you take to the table and go, oh, happy birthday. It's the acknowledgement of what's going around and just paying attention to that. Or, you know, someone's feeling a bit sad, just slide a tissue on the table and touch them and say, can I get you anything? So
do you find through that example that you're setting that your staff follow through on, and obviously you're doing that for your staff as well, right? That's a critical element.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like if you staff, you're like, she's a bit off or he's something's going on, you pay attention to that. But that must be part of your example of paying attention must be flowing on big time throughout.
Well, I definitely feel
else.
that flows through the staff. You know, the fact that we can pick up on when they're not having a good day and that we can talk to them and, you know, we are the family. So, you know, we can discuss the situation with them and try and, you know, make them feel more positive and bring a positive element to the day and turn their day around. And, you know, a lot of the time they leave and they say thanks for today. You know, they were about to call in sick because they didn't feel they could deal with the day, but yet they come in, they do the day, and you can turn it around.
It is pretty rare to have an employee thank you for allowing them to work for a day. It's kind of an old school value, that one.
Yeah.
I used to always do it myself. And but when you're trying to unpack people's success, often it is, when you boil it down, it's just a values difference. There's often intrinsic core values that are often considered old school that are now pretty rare, which are often based on empathy. That actually flows through a lot of different things, empathy and the ability just to care for other people, because then you're paying attention. You guys are obviously doing that. I'm going to hit you up with some rapid fire wildcard questions. Are you ready? Just to change tack. So, Kylie, this is actually a little bit deep. So, Kylie, highest point in the Riba Kai experience, what would you say, just first off the cap of the ring?
Highest point. I think I just recounted it. Like, that.
Oh, of course, the boy,
story,
the young fella.
I don't think I could have topped that.
Yeah, beautiful. And you got the short straw. What's the lowest point for you in this Riba Kai journey? Perhaps the last 3 years, for example.
The lowest point was probably 3 months from closing the business in the plaza. Not having another opportunity. The plaza was undergoing construction. We were at the highest rent we'd ever paid, the lowest customer base we'd ever had, and not knowing that there was somewhere else to open.
I think it was all going to end. It was
the thought of ending, and then the bills and the demolition of the business and everything at the end of it, and that thought, that was probably the lowest of the low.
Somewhere in a parallel universe, there's very sad people that actually happened and you finished. And then everyone's going, no more Riba Kai. But that's not this universe, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
Sliding doors.
Delivered.
So more rapid-fire wildcard questions. What's the most impactful book you've ever read, just, even if it was as a kid? Oh, yeah. Cool. What's your go-to most feel-good movie?
I don't get that one.
Wow. Well,
we watched Madagascar last night.
I've got a few. There's Jerry Maguire is a good movie.
Cool.
Serendipity, for different reasons, is another good one.
Right. Are you trying to, sound good for your girlfriend?
No.
You are. You do
She'd
have a
probably punch
partner,
me
right?
if I said that. No,
Okay.
it's, I'm Cancerian. I
All right.
don't apologise for that. But it's my emotional side.
Yeah,
We're there for
I'm right there with you.
Always
I like the
there.
emotional movies.
Thank you very
So, this is a little bit deeper. As a 17-year-old, or if you were going to give advice to your 17-year-old self, what would you give? Like in 1 or 2 sentences? As the incredibly wise woman that you are now.
Oh God! You know what? I actually said to one of our staff who started out as a 17-year-old. I said, never regret anything you've done. Just take what you've learned from it and apply it to what comes forward. What's to come.
Yeah.
You can't change it. You can't regret it. You just have to use it and make better choices the next time.
Brilliant. Yeah.
That's probably what I would tell myself.
My version of that I heard recently was, this is the other person saying, I never beat up on myself unless it propels me towards my goal, which I thought was kind of cool because I've made a bit of an art in the past of beating up. How about you, Brett? Advice to your 17-year-old self?
Invest in crypto.
Really?
Because back when
all of them?
Back then, it was all of them.
Right.
Multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
Probably what Kylie said is just learn from your mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Don't beat yourself up too much about them. Just take them on board as a lesson, and just keep striving for more.
And maybe let's not look at them as mistakes, but opportunities to evolve and change and
Be better.
Be better.
Because we all make it.
Comes down.
No one gets it all right. We never get it done.
And we still don't, even what we're doing. We stumble, you fall, you pick yourself up, and you keep moving.
Yeah. There's an element of resilience to just about any enterprise, really, isn't it? You just got to keep going, keep finding a way. And you think about all the challenges that every hospitality business is facing at the moment. Man, it's
in the
a
grand
tough
scheme of that, we just look outside, and every time you see a new shutdown, and you look at the other states, and my heart breaks. We're so lucky. And every day we think how lucky. And when you mentioned that I cried. I didn't cry for me. There was no tears for me. It was for everyone around me. What was impacting. A lot of family we had in Europe at the time, and they were being hit massively before we even knew what this was all about. And so. It was a lot. There was a lot that we were absorbing, and just
You say you're lucky. My dad had saying, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And I'd put a little caveat on that because if you just work on hard, you're going to have a hard life. But the harder and smarter and better you work, the luckier you're going to get.
Absolutely.
You guys are clearly doing
smarter.
that. Yeah.
Through COVID taught us to be smarter. We always thought working hard would just get us there.
Right.
But I think what COVID did was teach us to take a step back and just regroup. And, it was a new challenge, and, we learned how to just refine everything and
streamline.
Now we work smarter. Streamline and work smarter. And that's where we're at.
Yeah, we learned so many things. You feel like you need to fill everybody's needs in the marketplace and, have this and that and that. But actually, if you do it well, people will mold themselves to what you're actually offering them.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a big thing. Obviously, listening to what they need and not being like, you know, people are like, oh no, we don't do changes to menus, or we can't do that. Like, why not? Like, you got it in the kitchen, just swap it out. You know, like that's the simplicity. You know,
If their dog wants a filet mignon, get them a filet mignon.
yeah, if you want to put bacon on something, go for it.
Actually, that was me the other week, wasn't it?
I'm pretty sure that might be.
I think I ate most of the bacon though. Like, yeah, I'll give a bit to my dog.
Yeah, I think maybe.
Well,
But
thanks.
you're not the only one.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for the interview, guys. That was sensational. We know you worked your butts off. We know you worked really hard. Congratulations to yourself, all your staff, suppliers working, because this is obviously a team effort. But you holding the vision to do what you've done here is pretty brilliant. So well done. We love having this as an option on the coast. So congratulations.
Yeah, thank you for acknowledging us, pinning us down.
Great stuff.
Been good.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Brag Effect. We'll see you in the next episode.
The Brag Effect is brought to you by Brag Reviews, the review management software that helps businesses improve their reputations, one review at a time. Check it out at bragreviews.com.